Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the Special Report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture. Coming up in the show today, a bit of a developing story. The controversial YouTuber Jeremy Hambly, otherwise known as the Quartering, was allegedly attacked at Gencon after going to a bar last night. He posted a few videos about the incident. However, given his reputation on many things, there are some people who are still in doubt about the validity of the story. My name is JD Shadow. All of this and the OC remix track of the day is coming your way right about now. A bit of a warning before we get into the crux of this story. That first of all, this is still an ongoing story. There are still details that are being leaked. There are still things that are being developed. So please keep that in mind as we talk about the story. Also keep in mind that this is still kind of unverified. However, there are some reports that are saying that more of the evidence is siding with the person who was attacked. Keep that in mind because the person who had allegedly been attacked here was a guy by the name of Jeremy Hambly. You probably know him better off as the Quartering on YouTube. He's posted several videos that has been more along the lines of anti-social justice warrior type content and trying to call them out when he sees that they are going too far, and other stuff in between. He has been accused of some things, including making a prominent Magic the Gathering cosplayer quit on the grounds of him calling her out on whatever it was. I don't know the entire story. I don't know everything that happened as a direct result of that. What I do know is that many people called him a harasser for her. She went by the name of Christina Sprinkle. She was a well-known Magic the Gathering cosplayer, and then all hell broke loose as a direct result of the comments that he made concerning her and other people within the Magic the Gathering community and the judges of Magic the Gathering competitive play. This in turn ended up getting him permanently banned from competitive events, although that was a mixed reaction as to how that decision went, because there were some people who were saying that he didn't deserve the ban, that there were other people who did worse things that he could have ever done that only got 2-week ban or 3-month ban, and that this was more of him getting attacked by the authoritarian left. And we all know about what I believe some of the extreme members of that particular aspect of the left-wing mindset of America right now. There are liberals, there are leftists, and then there's that side. And I'll get into detail about what exactly is going on as the direct result of this. However, you can have your opinion about what you think about him as a person. With me, I do believe that perhaps he came on very hard. He came on as a bit trollish and a bit douchebaggery, but there's a lot of nuances within that whole controversy that makes me a little bit suspicious about how some people had reported on that, namely Polygon, who by now you know that they are absolutely horrendous at reporting anything that has to do with politics at all, and they decide they want to put politics into absolutely every single little thing they ever talk about, even when it really serves them no purpose to interject politics and shove them down your throat. But he has gone by some other names, Unsleeved Media being one of them, MTG Headquarters being another one, and he is not one that had backed down from talking about these kinds of topics. The kinds of topics that are pretty sensitive to a lot of people right now, and that has continued to be very sensitive to a lot of people. You just cannot say the wrong thing, even one wrong letter of a right word, if you are going to not get the ire of some people. And again, that is the extreme nature of the authoritarian left that has the same kind of qualifications that the radical right has. But there have been a lot of people who doubt some of the things that he says as absolute truth. Again, there are nuances that go into everything, and sometimes people have claimed that he can get a little bit full of himself, that he can have times in which he says something that are not completely factual. But of course, he also has his fan base. He also has people who want to hear what he has to say because he is a prominent person on YouTube. So of course, he's also going to get his people who will at least hear what he has to say, even though they don't completely agree with everything that he has said. But there are some people who really don't like him, who really think that he should go away, who really think that he is a toxic individual. This in turn leads to what has happened at Gencon 2018, or at least what he's claimed. According to a video that he had posted, and it apparently got deleted, and then he uploaded a few more videos concerning the situation. At Gencon 2018, he was seemingly attacked by somebody who apparently did not like the type of stuff that he was making. Now, according to the second video, the claims, and keep in mind these are just claims that he has made, saying that the attacker stood behind him and asked if his name was Jeremy, which he replied yes. Then the attacker then started to attack him from behind, hitting him 7 times. His property was damaged, including shirt, glasses, and whatever he said his speakers were, probably to hear himself as he was streaming or whatever was going on there. We don't know what he meant by speakers. The attack was occurring right outside of a bar that he was patronizing when this took place. He showed the window that was broken within the attack. He was drinking at that point in time. It took 3 guys to get the attacker off of him, and there were also some Gen Con staff nearby, and apparently they didn't do anything. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Now, he said he did call the police, and when they arrived, he wasn't taken seriously, and that they laughed at him and said he could not do anything. The attacker was described as a Gen Con attendee, and he was wearing a 4-day pass, and he was wearing a rainbow sleeveless t-shirt. Now, we'll get into that in just a second because the attacker has seemingly been identified. However, the reason why this was doubted is because of what the bar did. Apparently, the bar did not call police. You would think at any point that there was any kind of altercation in which your bar was a direct result, or any sort of property, you might want to take care of this situation. You might want to say, hey, get over here. There's a fight happening in my bar, or right outside of my bar. Can you please do something about this? And the bar said for Jeremy to not call the police, and that made a lot of people a bit suspicious about Jeremy's story because he didn't have that much of visible bruising on him. However, if you watch the video in which he posted, you can no doubt see that he was sort of shaken as a direct result of it. You can hear that his voice was a little bit more hoarse than it usually is. I watched some of his videos, some of his content, and he doesn't usually have that sort of raspy voice to him. So I have a feeling that perhaps that because you hear him getting shaken up, perhaps there was something that happened there. However, there is some evidence, according to some people on Reddit, they're saying that some of this evidence are now pointing toward Jeremy's side, that he might be telling the truth here. And there is more to this story because apparently the attacker has been identified. Now, he, according to Jeremy, is the owner of Elm City Games. The guy goes by the name of Fantastic. He seems to be an industry person, and he had his account protected on Twitter recently as a direct result, apparently, of what's been going on right now, because he is apparently in a lot of trouble right at the moment, and rightfully so. More so along the lines of that, there is a particular tweet that he made that could be a sign that maybe there was something that was going to happen, saying, real talk, if you have a problem with FemFreak being invited to Gen Con, effing fight me, I'm easy to find. FemFreak, of course, being the handle of Feminist Frequency, the Twitter handle of controversial feminist Anita Sarkeesian, who was invited to Gen Con 2018, albeit with some controversy by some people saying that she is not known as the most credible feminist out there and has garnered a lot of controversy, although I'm not going to go into full detail about that. But this is getting even weirder because apparently Gen Con Gencon is more about trying to bury this whole entire lead. According to somebody on Twitter, they have begun to silence and to ban anybody who had dared to talk about the situation. They have permanently banned people, they have timed people out, they have tried to scrub clean this incident even occurring. And on some of the Reddit posts, especially on Magic TCG, the mods have been more about trying to hide the fact that this even occurred rather than just talking about it and to say that they condemn the actions of the person who had committed this act, regardless of the person who was being attacked. You can see on the screen right now a deleted thread that popped up where people were saying, hey, I don't agree with Jeremy's ideals, however, he does not deserve this kind of thing. And I want to say that this is completely dangerous. Can we please stop condoning violence? No, I don't agree with some of what he says either. And I watched some of his content. Some of it makes sense, while other things it's just, oh my god, what did he just say? But that's just because I am left of center. I'm not a full-on authoritarian like some people have become lately. Yes, I'm progressive, but that does not mean that I can't call out my own side, which apparently some people believe that's what that means, that you subscribe to one side and you never question your own side. Even when they're doing anything wrong, you try to condone your side any way you can and completely condemn the other side on every single little thing they ever do, even though they might have a great idea. That's called common ground, trying to find a common ground, and we have lost that. We have completely lost that. And people who seemingly have forgotten that there's a such thing are hoping we never find it, that we become even more divided than ever before. And this is a direct definition of us being so divided that we have decided that we are going to either condone violence against a person we don't like, who might just have a different opinion of some things and just has a particularly hard way of discussing that said opinion. Yes, he does have an edge to him. However, at the same time, why is it that we can't sometimes agree with the other side from time to time? Yes, I am progressive, but that doesn't mean that I can praise a conservative if I feel like they had a great idea or they said something that made sense. And that comes into the crux of this whole thing. It has gotten this bad. Gencon should be ashamed of themselves for letting this happen and to try to cover this up in the way they are right now on Twitch. If people want to discuss it, they need to answer to this. They need to say why there were 3 people there that didn't do anything. If it was a made-up story, then say, hey, this is a guy who made stuff up and we believe that this never actually occurred. But say that. Why the cover up? If nothing happened, then you have nothing to hide. Don't hide behind bans. Don't hide behind blocking. Say what it is that happened there. If there were 3 people that were there, if there is undoubtable proof that he made it up, then show that proof. Don't just hide behind a ban and just pretend that it never happened. It makes you look guilty. And from the evidence that people are now showing, it is apparent that something occurred there that shook him up. There is clear evidence that something happened there. There were witnesses that testified to that point on his video. And if this is a huge conspiracy by him, if this was a huge thing that he just made up, then wow, he's probably going to get in a lot of trouble. This is not something to play around with. If you make something like this up, you can be put in jail. How did that window get broken? How did he have those guards? What transpired at that bar? Somebody has to know the truth there. And somebody doesn't want anything to be revealed here. Why is the Magic TCG Reddit getting scrubbed of any of this even happening? You know what this does? Even if this never happened, even if he made all this up, you know what this means? This makes me not want to go to a Gen Con. This makes me not want to participate, because what is it that's stopping anybody from attacking me? What is stopping anybody from going into, say, a panel and dragging me out and then punching and kicking me until I'm blue in the face or bloody? anybody. What is stopping any of that from happening? Regardless of what actually transpired, you have to say that, hey, this transpired. This guy might have been making everything up. We don't have any proof to show that he was attacked in this sort of manner. We are denying that this occurred. But stop hiding behind these bans. It just makes you look guilty. And this just makes Gencon look extremely bad. I don't care who it is that got attacked, okay? It doesn't matter if it was Jeremy that got attacked, if it was Anita Sarkeesian got attacked, if it was somebody at a left of center or right of center or independent or a nonpartisan person. It doesn't matter. You don't cover it up. What is stopping another person from doing the exact same thing, or God forbid, bring a freaking gun into the God blessed place? Are you going to laugh it off then? Can we not see what is so wrong about this? Can we not just see that? The guy took it to the next level. That cannot be. That cannot occur at any of these conventions. I will not be attending a Gen Con if it comes to be that I have the capacity to do so until this gets sorted out right now, because this makes me feel uncomfortable. It should make everybody feel uncomfortable for attending there, that they are letting something like this happen. He is sticking to his story. Jeremy is sticking to his story, and I don't blame him. Gen Con is doing absolutely nothing to alleviate people saying, hey, wait a minute, this is not what exactly happened. We deny that this occurred at any place. The bar is doing nothing about this. Why? Because maybe he has a different opinion. He came on hard and maybe he doesn't have the right way to express that. And no, I don't know the entire story of what transpired between him and Christina Sprinkle, because a lot of that got deleted when the mods of that certain subreddit decided it was within their right to start nuking comments and giving us every perspective of that whole ordeal. If you want to debate him, if you want to shut him down, you do it by showing that you have a better understanding of the facts, that you are on the right side of things. You don't do this. I might disagree with everything Alex Jones has ever said, and I do, but that does not mean I'm gonna go into wherever place he's patronizing and punch him in the face. What gives me the right to do that? He never did anything to me physically. I might feel like doing so. I might be thinking that, hey, I would love to do that, but I'm not going to. You know why? Because I'm better than that. I don't think that that is going to convey my message any better. And this is not conveying this guy's message any better. It makes me not want to attend Gen Con because I don't know who's coming next to punch somebody else in the face, who's going to be the next person, and is it going to be any worse because Gen Con won't even tell us anything. They are just scrubbing clean anybody who dares to bring it up. It makes me not want to play Magic or get involved with the community, which I was back in 1997 when I played it religiously, because people are now saying that because you are on a different side of the progressive movement, perhaps you're not worthy of being a part of it, which to me seems very, very unhinged, and that is a subject for another video, which I really love to make at some point. But the bottom line here is that in this instance, it doesn't matter what else he has done throughout history. In this one instance, even if he's another minor monopolist, if he's another Mike Cernovich, okay, maybe he's a bad person in your eyes. But don't do this. It makes you be much worse. And the people who are running Gen Con should be ashamed of themselves for doing this. And they have to clean this up, or else it's going to get even worse. And there's going to be a lot of people not wanting to attend, and I would not blame him at all for doing that. Maybe a degree of common ground, or maybe a degree of decency when you're sharing your opinions or when you're disagreeing with somebody. You can come on hard as much as you want, but to take it to this level, you are going to show a slippery slope. You're going to say, hey, this is canonable. We're not going to worry about if you go and punch this person just because you disagree with them or you think they're a bad person. And that's subjective in and of itself. You're saying to people, hey, we're going to turn the other way. We're going to look the other way toward violence against people who might have have a different perspective, not necessarily in a different opinion, but different perspective of the same opinion, or a different opinion about the tactics that we use in order to express the same opinion, or a different perspective of what we consider this or that. You want to know why the escapists had said that they were going to become apolitical? This right here is your reason, and this should not be a reason for anything. The cops should be ashamed, Gencon should be ashamed, and the person who did this should be ashamed. And I more and more believe Jeremy in this situation, and he was in the right to say something about it, because this is ridiculous that this had to happen. Yeah, it's still unverified and allegedly, but allegedly we can determine that maybe he is telling the truth in this sense, because apparently Gencon would rather hide behind a block wall or a band wall than to actually address the situation. Shame on you, Gencon. Maybe if you would just address it, maybe we would have a bit of better reason to sleep at night in our hotels if we ever attend another one of your conventions. God help you if he's saying the entire truth. And that's going to do it for this edition of the special report. Thanks again for watching. If you liked what you see, please be sure to give a thumbs up, and of course subscribe and ring the bell for more geek gaming culture. I really do appreciate that. Before we go, let's do the OC remix track of the day. I feel like that's a very good idea, and I also feel like it's a very good idea to give Wild Arms some love. This is a very underrated RPG series that I really wish that Sony would bring back in some form or fashion on the PS Vita or even the PS4. How about a PS4 version of Wild Arms? Let's do that, Sony. Let's go back to 1997, the very first Wild Arms. This is a remix of the battle theme, the main battle theme of Wild Arms. It was called Critical Hit. This is called Unstoppable from Flex Style. Very interesting take on the Western theme that the tracks were like on that game. I hope you do enjoy it. My name is Jedi Shadow, and that just happened.